Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Good evening and a very warm welcome to everyone. This is the concluding session of this series of Weekend with Wisdom, wherein Shri Kalyan Kumarji is speaking on the fourth chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Kalyan Kumarji, I welcome you. Viewers, if you have any question, please post them in Q&A box. Kalyan Kumarji will be taken towards the end of the session. Kalyan Kumarji, please start your session.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः ऋकारस्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्तिः 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 ॐ वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. Let me know in case you have any audio difficulties, because I wasn't hearing properly the introduction piece. So there may be network issues, but just let me know if
We can hear you clear, Kalyan Kumarji.
okay. ओम अथ चतुर्थोऽध्यायः ज्ञानकर्मसन्न्यासयोगः श्रीभगवान् उवाच इमं विवस्वते योगं प्रोक्तवानहमव्ययम् विवस्वान्मनवे प्राह मनुरिक्ष्वाकवे अब्रवीत् यदृच्छालाभसन्तुष्टः द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धौ असिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते गतसङ्गस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञायाचरतः कर्म समग्रं प्रविलीयते. We have been talking on the fourth chapter, where Bhagavan introduced the Sampradaya, how this Jnanam has been handed over from Ishvara oneself, himself, to the Surya and then the Ikshvaku Vamsa kings, and how it came down. So he owns up this Jnanam as something that was given by Ishvara at the time of Srishti itself. When the creation, at the time of creation, this knowledge has been given. This is not something which has discovered during the process of Srishta Jagat. Then he spoke about what is Ishvara. How should we look at Ishvara? And what is an avatara? And in the context of how knowing the Swarupa of Ishvara, one can be liberated, also he spoke about it. Then he went into what is an action. Because he said, even though I sustained this Jagat, but I am untouched by any of this. So with that as a segue, Bhagavan started talking about what is karma, what is an action. So he said, in action itself, you have to see inaction. Inaction is not about stopping an action that you do, which you can't anyway do. There is no way you can stop acting except for a very short, probably stretch of time when you go to samadhi or get to a deep sleep or something. But otherwise, there is no way to stop it. But then how do I achieve the akarma state? Is only by understanding that the Atma is akarta. The Swarupa is a non-doer. So that is where we stopped in the morning. Nirashihi yatachitta tekta sarva parigraha shariram kevalam karma kurvan na apnoti kilbisham. Someone who has gained this knowledge, who is nitya tripta nirashraya, who is beyond any action, because that person cognizes that one's own Swarupa, the true nature, is untouched by any of this action. But it is only a Sakshi. It only lights up every action, but by itself doesn't participate in any of the action, because action is part of the Mithya. Satyam and Mithya. We briefly touched upon it. That which doesn't change, that which is lending its existence to everything else, is Satyam. Whereas whatever is dependent as though reality is Mithya. Like we saw a tumbler and a chain. All these are Mithya, whereas gold is the Satyam, with reference to all the golden objects. Similarly, all these actions and activity, all that is Mithya, are dependent on what lends its existence to all of this, which is the Atmavastu. And the person who cognizes this Atmavastu as oneself, that person gives up the doership and the enjoyership. When such a person is involved even in thick of action, karmani abhipravrittopi naiva kinchit karoti, that person is actually not doing anything because there is no doership. Now this person, once there is no need for doing some, we saw in the morning, the person is not after pleasures. The person doesn't need anything else to be happy. The person is Atma Ramaha, one who is relaxed in one's own nature. That kind of a person is Tekta Sarva Parigraha. He or she is not looking for preserving things for tomorrow, protecting oneself, financially protecting oneself, materially protecting oneself. All that is not the focus. Commitment is only towards Jnana Nishta. That kind of a person, Shariram Kevalam Karma Kurvanne na apnoti kilpisham, doesn't accrue any papa or anything by just doing the minimal things needed. So when a sannyasi is, what is the sannyasi supposed to do? If the person is not a jnani, then the person has chosen a lifestyle to pursue jnanam. A lifestyle towards pursuing this knowledge is sannyasa. It is not like today, many of these gurus building institutions, trying to create, huge establishments towards so many other things. I'm not saying it is wrong or anything, but sannyasa is pursuit of knowledge, is not to become an institutional head, which is okay after a person has become a jnani. If the situation asks for a certain thing to be done for the sake of the society, there is nothing wrong, because the person is already a jnani, can do it, like Janaka and all that. So when Shankaracharya established these 4 mats, Amnaya Mat, that is after to do was done, then he established mathas so that they can propagate, they can take care of the people around those mathas for their knowledge and education and all that. But a sannyasa lifestyle, there are 2 types of sannyasis, Vividisha sannyasa and Vidvat sannyasa. One as a pursuit to know, a mumukshu can take sannyasa. A jignasu can take sannyasa to study, to learn. Then the role of that sannyasi is as a student pursuing this jnana. Then the other one is Vidvat sannyasa, which is what is spoken about here. When the person has already gained the knowledge, doesn't see any need to continue in the thick of the world, has already gained the jnanam, doesn't have a situation where the person is absolutely needed to continue with karma. So the person takes a lifestyle of sannyasa called Vidvat sannyasa, so that the person can be in jnana nishtha. Both the sannyasis, from acquiring things perspective, they just acquire things needed to keep the body alive. So some food and some shelter is all they need. When that kind of a lifestyle is lived, those people, they don't have any kartrutvam. Just because they go for alms, take some food, doesn't mean they are doing some big action. There is no karta bhokta. So kuruvan napnoti, na apnoti kilbisham. They are edricha labha santushtaha. They are happy with whatever comes. If they get food one day, fine. If they don't get food one day, that is also fine. They don't eat for the sake of taste, but just to keep the body. So they are edricha labha santushtaha. They are dvandvatitaha. They are beyond cold and hot and all that. The physical, mosquito is biting me, I am not comfortable. Those kind of things are not there. They are samaha. They see everything as same. Such people are not bound by the actions. Now he is going to talk about what is this jnanam from an action perspective. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha yajnaya acharatah karma samagram praviliyate. This yajnaya acharatah karma. For the Ishvara's yajna, what is this yajna? From the time of Srishti, there are a lot of actions going on to keep the Srishti going. There are yajnas which are done for the welfare of people. There are activities being done to keep the life on. And that yajnam is Ishvara's yajna. There is a big the chakram is what Bhagavan says. The wheel is running, is rolling. That is the Srishti. This for thousands of years, life is going on. And you are born at a particular time to a particular set of parents, and you are called upon to do certain set of things in this big yajna of Ishvara. You are brought in with some purpose. You have a certain role to play. You are a cog in the wheel. You just do what is needed from a Srishti upkeep perspective. That is what is called Karma Yoga. What you do is not driven by your motivation towards some pleasure seeking and all that, but because you are called upon to act. Because the situation is in front of you, you have been given an opportunity to do a certain thing, you just do it. That is what is called yajnaya acharatah karma. For the Ishvara's yajna only you do. Because you are vimatsaraha. In the previous sloka he says vimatsaraha, the matsarya rahitaha. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. These are 6 qualities which are considered enemies. Shadripuhu. And matsarya is the worst of them. Because here you are unhappy because somebody else is happy. Therefore, it is considered as a upalakshana for kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada and all that. When somebody is without matsarya, then that person is as though without all the 6 ripu. Being that kind of a person is not driven by any kama or krodha when the person is doing an action. So why is the person acting? Because yajnaya. There is this Ishvara yajna going on. And I am here. I have certain things to do. I am given a body, a situation to contribute in some way to the yajna that is going on. Ishvara's yajna is going on. And I just make that contribution. That is yajnaya acharatah karma. Because there is no asakti, gata sangasya, jnana avastita chetasaha. The mind is rooted in this knowledge. The person acts for the yajna. What is this yajnam? Bhagavan says brahmarpanam, brahmahavihi, brahmagnau, brahmanahutam, brahmaiva tena gantavyam, brahmakarma samadhina. This in this yajnam that is going on, any action you do, you know, what is this action? Brahmarpanam, this yajna, it is an yajna. Any action you can look at it as an yajna. What is an yajna? Like there is havan. So you have havis that you give ahuti in an agni. You have a handle in which you either have a havis or ajyam or anything like that. And you do ahuti. So that it can go to any particular devata. Like Agni, Soma, Pavamana, all these are devatas. Devatas are conscious. You know what devata means, suppose I am this person. I have eyes, I have nose, I have ears, I have a heart, lungs, kidney. There are activities going on in each one of them. Some conscious activity is going. It's not that I'm consciously thinking this is how my heart has to beat. No, heart is pumping blood. Whether I realize it or not, it goes on. Same way eyes are seeing. So there are so many intelligences within this body. And each intelligence is invoked as a devata when it with reference to the body. And when you look at the samashti, the world outside also, wind is blowing. There is a conscious order. We spoke about it. Fire, heat is a conscious order. There is a certain order about heat. Thermodynamics, we study as a knowledge of science because there is a certain order, thermal order. That is also a devata because there is a conscious way by which it is functioning. Those are all devatas. Agni is a devata. Soma is a devata. Moon is functioning body. You just by looking at it, it looks like inert, but then it is acting. See, for an amoeba or virus, this body will look like an inert only, isn't it? Because it sees only one speck of it. But then I am moving. So I am not inert. So moon is also moving by itself. How does it move? And in a proper way, it doesn't go out of its orbit. Anyway, so that is why it is a devata. Every conscious order is looked upon as a devata. And you give this ahuti saying Agnaye Swaha, Agnaye Idanna Mama. I give this as an offering to Agni. One rik you will say, whatever is the Agni related rik or Pavamana related rik. And then you do an ahuti that is called yajna. Now, what is this yajnam? That an action which is done in the Jagat. In that yajnam, Brahmarpanam, the means by which you are making the offering is nothing but Brahman. This handle is Brahman. Brahma Havihi. What you are offering into the fire is also Brahman. What is this Brahman? We'll come to that. Then this Agni is also Brahman. And the one who is giving the ahuti is also Brahman. And what does this person want to gain? That is also Brahman. Brahmaiva tena gantavyam. Brahma karma samadhina. The one who is rooted in Brahman is the one who is offering this, himself being Brahman or herself being Brahman. This Brahma is the word used by Upanishads, Brihi Vriddhau, that which is an unconstrainedly large, that means an infinite total Swarupa is called Brahma, which is defined in Upanishads by terms like Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma, Ayamatma Brahma, like that. That which is not known by this cognition, that which lights up everything, that which is the substratum of everything, that because of which everything has its existence, where you see as a this cognition is also the I cognition, and that because of which the whole experience is sustained, comes into play and resolves back. That kind of a thing is called Brahma, which is to be known. And this entire pursuit is to know that Brahma, because the moment I say it is all pervasive, it cannot exclude you. That means your own Swarupa has to be Brahman only. That kind of a Brahma Arpanam, that is what is the means by which you are offering this to this yajna. Any action you do, the means by which you are doing that action is Brahman. The subject and the object are both Brahman. The location in which you are doing it is Brahman. So for what you are doing is also Brahman. Everything is, all that is there is Brahman only. That is what is this yajnam about. In this context, Ishvara is now going to talk about different kind of yajnas. Daivameva pare yajnam yoginah paryupasate brahmagnau apare yajnam yajnenaivopajuhvati. Why should Bhagavan talk about different yajnas? Is he going to talk about like Putra Kameshti, Karirishti, Somayaga and all that? Are these the yajnas he is going to talk about? No. Here Bhagavan is going to talk about different spiritual disciplines which are like yajna that people do. Who are doing this? Mumukshus are doing this. The one who are seeking moksha. People who aspire to be liberated, they do certain yajnas to prepare oneself. So what is this yajna? This is like karma yoga. To prepare oneself for this jnanam. We said earlier that emotional readiness is an important thing for this jnanam. It is not only intellectual. Now for that emotional readiness, Bhagavan in detail spoke about karma yoga. But there are also other disciplines which can be categorized within karma yoga. But there are other disciplines. Now it is not only doing Vaidika karma with Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, but also certain other things that are done by yogis, by aspirants, by sadhakas, which also are like yajnas. So he is going to talk about those yajnas so that we can understand what all disciplines can be done. He has given a few, but there are many others which can also be taken up, because the intent here is to prepare oneself, ready oneself for the jnanam, to gain chitta shuddhi and chitta naishchalya. Is what is the purpose. Let us look at what yajnas he speaks about. Daivameva pare yajnam yoginaha paryupasate. One is the regular yajnas, the karma yoga, where there is Vaidika yajna which is given, and these yajnas is where the ahuti is given and all that, but you do it with Ishvara Prasada Buddhi as karma yoga. That is one type of yajna. Then he talks about the jnana yajnam. Brahmagnau apare yajnam yajnena upajuhvati. So this Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi he spoke about, that everything is Brahman in this yajna. Now he is talking about people do those yajna. Brahmagnau yajnam yajnena upajuhvati. There are people here. This yajnam means Atma. Yajnena means Atmana. By oneself give ahuti of oneself into this Brahma Havihi, into this Brahma Agni. One is the Havis. I am myself Havihi. I give up myself into this Brahma Agni. Means what? This I do vichara of this jnanam. I gain this jnanam. By this knowledge, I recognize that everything is Brahman. By recognizing everything is Brahman, that means I have given up myself, because I myself become Brahman. Once I have become Brahman means what? I have given myself as ahuti to Brahman. But how do I become Brahman? What is this becoming Brahman? Because you are already Brahman. Then how do you become? So that means you are only recognizing that you are Brahman. But how do I recognize I am everything? We have to look at it. What is the experience in the world? there is a knowledge, there are things which are known to me, and then I am the knower. These are the three things, correct? There are actually two things I told you. Dvauhi padarthau atma anatmanau. So there is, we will take one example. This cloth is there. The cloth is known to me. I am the knower. The cloth is known, and then there is this knowledge of the cloth. This is Triputi. Three things: knower, known, knowledge. There is this wall. The wall is known. I am the knower, and there is the knowledge of the wall. You are hearing me speak. The sound that comes across to you is an object that is known to you as sound. You are the knower or hearer of the sound, and the hearing, which is the knowledge of the sound. Like that, everything you take, there is a known, there is you the knower, and then there is knowledge. The whole world experience is like this. There is no difference, correct? There is sun, which is known. You are the knower of the sun, and then there is knowledge of the sun. Then there are abstract things about internet. How the internet communication takes place. There is the actual communication, which is the known. How it takes place, there is a knowledge that you gain, and then you are the knower. Suppose you get angry. The anger is known to you. You are the knower of the anger, and then there is this knowledge that you are cognizing that you are angry. So everything is reduced to a knower, known, and knowledge. Now let us see what is this known. Any one knower, known, and knowledge, let us take and analyze. This cloth is known, but we already discussed this. The cloth is reduced to mere existence because the cloth depends on fabric, which depends on the yarn, depends on the atoms, depends on energy, that depends on existence. It resolves into existence. Me as a knower is not separate from the awareness which lights me up. In fact, what is known also is lighted by the same consciousness. The knower is lighted by the same consciousness. The knowledge is nothing but it's a vritti. It's a change that happens in my mind, which is lighted up. The content of knowledge is nothing but consciousness. The content of knower is nothing but consciousness. The content of what is known also is only existence and consciousness. What exists is because the consciousness lights it up. Now, any knower, known, and knowledge is reduced to awareness or consciousness or existence. Asti bhati satyam jnanam. Now, any one Triputi is reduced. All the three are sustained by the same. The knower is sustained by the same consciousness. The known is sustained by the same consciousness. The knowledge is sustained by the same consciousness, because the content of all of this is nothing but consciousness, awareness only. Once that is known, then whether it is Arpanam or Havihi or Agni, everything is reduced to only consciousness. So the consciousness is Brahma, and that Brahmagni, in which you have even Ahuti of the instrument of yourself, of what is being given as offering. Everything is given to this knowledge of all that is here is consciousness. That is called Jnana Yajna. This Jnanam is making you offer everything into it. That is why it's called Jnana Yajnam. Brahmagnau Yajnam Yajnena Upajuhvati. In this Brahman, as the Agni, Jnanis are offering everything, including themselves. That is one Yajna. The second Yajna. The first Yajna is the regular Yajna. In Agni, you are doing offering and all that, but they do it with Ishwararpana Buddhi as Karma Yoga. Then the third Yajna, he is talking about Shrotra Din Indriyanyanye Sanyamagni Shujuhvati. Fourth one, Sabda Din Vishayanyanye Indriyagni Shujuhvati. This Yama Niyama Asana Pranayama Pratyahara Dharana Dhyana Samadhi, the Ashtanga Yoga. Patanjali Yoga Sutra is there, right? It talks about that is Samyama. Sanyama is self-mastery. So suppose I am a yogi. My yajna here is all my indriyas, my hearing, my eyesight, my taste, whatever actions all these senses are doing, I am controlling them, stopping them, and putting my mind onto some meditation. Self-mastery. Srotradin indriyani sanyamagnishu. By self-mastery, controlling all the indriyas, I am fully collected and doing meditation. This is one type of yajna. In this yajna, what is happening? In the self-control, self-mastery, I am offering whatever my senses are to do. It is all offered unto the Agni, which is called self-mastery. Some yogis do that kind of yajna. For what? For, again, this jnanam only. These are all means. One kind of sadhana is meditating all the time. So all your indriyas are given as offering. Now whatever the indriya cheshta is there, all those subside. So that is the effect. Then finally it is jnanam only which liberates, no doubt. But to prepare yourself, this is one of the yajna. Then that is called Dhamma. Then Shama, Sabdadin Vishayan Yanye Indriyagni Shujuhvati. All the objects of senses, sensory objects, you don't just let your eyes go and see whatever it wants to see. Mouth goes and eats whatever it wants to eat, not that way, but control it, limit it. Only to certain extent I will allow my indriyas. That is why Juhvati, I control. Some yogis are controlling the senses. It's not like fully stopping and doing dhyana, but manage it better. Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu. Bhagavan himself says, so limit whatever is absolutely essential. To that extent, you allow the senses to operate, but keep them under control. That is one other kind of spiritual practice. That is also like a yajna, figuratively, because what are you doing? You are giving the vishayas for your senses in a structured way, what is needed. So you are doing ahuti of indriya vishayas to indriya by not letting them generally go out and be after pleasures. That is another kind of spiritual practice. Again, it is not just self-mastery, but towards preparing oneself for this jnanam. Then the fifth one, sarvani indriya karmani prana karmani chapare atma sanyama yogagnu juhvati jnanadipite. Then also another one, you control all your senses, prana, everything, and then also do jnana vichara of what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong. So this jnanena deepitam, by this jnana knowledge, which is also kind of meditative knowledge, Again, we are only talking practices. This is not Brahma Jnanam or anything. But whatever is towards preparing oneself, that kind of a Jnana Deepite, Atma Sanyama, in that kind of an Atma control, you offer all the senses and your mind and prana and all that. That is another kind of yajna. Then few more yajnas Bhagavan talks about: Dravya yajnaha, Tapo yajnaha, Yoga yajnaha, Swadhyaya Jnana yajnaha, Yatayaha Samsita vrataha. The yati is people who, yati means yatana shilaha, people who are focused in preparing oneself for this jnana. Such kind of people, they do what? Dravya yajnaha, who offer wealth to people, others. In some kshetras, you go to Tirtha, banks of Ganges and Rameshwaram and all that, and give away wealth for deserving people, but not as generally as a benevolence or anything, but with the intent of jnanam, again as a spiritual practice. These are spiritual offerings. That is why you have to give it in at the right place, right time, with the right approach. With jnanam, you are trying to prepare yourself for jnanam. So it is an yajna. You are giving dravya as an yajna, as an offering. Even though you give it to some satpatram, but the attitude is for me to gain the jnanam I am doing. So that is also an yajna. Then tapo yajnaha, a lot of people do tapas, like Ekadashi Vratam, Krichra Chandrayanam, all kinds of tapas we do, correct? And some people do Gayatri Japa 1,000 times every day. These are all kinds of tapas. So some who yogis do yajna where tapa itself is yajna. You are offering all your entire thing to that tapas. That's why it is yajna. Then yoga yajnaha, yama nayama asana pranayama, all that. So yoga also, again, it is only for jnanam and moksham, preparing oneself. Yoga itself is not the end. Shariram kevalam. So when sannyasi has to take care of body, it is only minimally what is needed. Not like you do like 8 hours of yoga and do all that, right? That is not, again, I'm not criticizing any particular thing, but the focus of every sannyasi is to pursuit is only towards jnanam, moksha. All other things are only to prepare oneself. Today, many sannyasis are becoming purely yoga teachers. Teaching yoga is not wrong. We are not against all that. But the main is jnanam only. So here, yoga yajna, anything we are talking about as yajna is as a spiritual discipline focused towards gaining jnanam, preparing oneself. Chitta Shuddhi and Chitta Naishchalyam we spoke about. The mind has to become qualified to gain this jnanam. Towards that, this yoga becomes a preparation. Then only it is yajna. If it is purely for a good health and all that, nothing wrong. That yoga is fine, but we can't call it as a yajna or karma yoga. Bhagavan doesn't mean that kind of yoga, which is health focused. And even all this fasting and all that people do is not tapas unless it is done with Ishvara in mind as a qualification, qualifying oneself for this jnana. If you do, then it is an yajna. Otherwise, it is not. It is only fasting for your health. Nothing wrong with it. But it is for its purpose. That's all. We can't call it yajna. Then there are other kinds of yajnas, swadhyaya, jnana yajnaha, even chanting Vishnu Sahasranama, chanting Veda. If you have learnt Veda, your swadhyaya, whatever you are supposed to chant. Some people keep chanting Veda as a yajna. They give themselves to that Vedic chanting. And that is also an yajna, preparing oneself, spiritual practice. So every practice is valid. Nadopasana is an yajna only again. Shastriya Sangeetam becomes a spiritual dance. Shastriya dance is also a preparation. All these are yajnas to prepare oneself for the jnana. Jnana yajnascha, learning Sanskritam, all that towards readying oneself. Again, that is a yajna. And then pranayama, he talks about apane juhvati pranam, prane apanam tathapare pranapana gati rudhva pranayama parayanaha. Even pranayam, some people do as a preparation for this jnanam, because when you hold the prana, when you regulate the prana, your mind is also regulated. It is also a preparation. And here, how is it yajna? Apane pranam juhvati. Apana is inhalation, prana is exhalation. So in the inhalation, you are giving ahuti of exhalation, means you are avoiding exhalation and doing only inhalation. That's called purakam. Opposite of it is rechakam, prane apanam. In exhalation, you exhale the prana and don't inhale for some time. That is called rechakam. Pranapana gati rudhva. Stop the prana and apana. Means don't inhale or exhale. Once you inhale, keep it there, kumbhaka. Or you exhale fully and keep it outside. That is also kumbhaka pranayama. So you are either offering to prana the apana, or offering to apana the prana, or you keep both of them outside. This is called pranayama, and that is also an ahuti. It's a preparation. Apare niyataharaha pranan pranesh juhvati sarvepyede yajnavidaha yajnakshapita kalmashaha. There are many more such niyataharaha, regulating food. Don't take onion. Some people garlic. They only eat, some flattened rice. This is another kind of practice. So there are many such yajnas, because all these are done. Even this is niyatahara is not a diet plan. It is for ekadashi and all that. There are so many ahara niyamas people have for preparing oneself again for jnanaman. Then it is an yajna. Yajnena kshavita kalmashaha. All their limitations slowly go away and they become ready for this jnanam. And he says, Yajnashishtamrita bujaha yanti brahma sanatanam ayam lokostya yajnasya kutonya kurusattama. Only people who are disciplined, they have something to take away in this world itself. Even in this laukika, only when you are disciplined, when you have your senses under control, you can enjoy the life. Otherwise, you are always scattered. You are always waiting for a tomorrow which will give you happiness. You are right now not in control. You are not able to enjoy today, this moment. Then how will you enjoy tomorrow? Because when tomorrow comes, that time also it will be today only. If you don't have the knack of enjoying the today, the present, you can never enjoy, because all the reality is only present. Tomorrow also, when it happens, it will be the present. So if you don't have any control, any discipline, you can't enjoy it today. How are you going to gain the other world and all that? Is what he asks. Yajnasishtamrita bujaha. Other than once you do all these practices, keep yourself under control, then whatever is minimally needed to eat and sustain your life, you go and do that. That is what all these people who are doing spiritual practices, they do. That's what he says. Yajnasishtamrita bujaha yanti brahma sanatanam. That kind of a person who is following this spiritual discipline only eventually gains the Brahman. And then he says, these are not the only ones. There are many more such practices. Like we said, right? The Nadopasana and all that. So he says, Evam Bahuvida yajnaha vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidditan sarvan evam nyatva vimokshase. There are many such spiritual practices which are there in Vedas and elsewhere, which you can follow. But then understand all these are only actions. These are not the end. Karmajan vidditan sarvan. Each one of this, whether it is pranayama or giving dana or giving sensory control, making it, doing meditation, all these are also some kind of action. This is not the end. Just because you meditate doesn't mean that you have already reached. So understand. Now, once you understand these are karmajan, then you also have to understand what is the underlying truth. Evam nyatva vimokshase. Then only you get liberated. And then he compares all yajnas to jnana yajna. He says, Shreyan dravyamaya yajnat jnana yajna parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane parisamapyate. I spoke about so many yajnas. All these in some form is karma only. The only thing which is different is jnana yajna, because there you are giving up everything. By that jnanam, you give up. The giving up person also is given up. The ahankara is given up. Everything is given up to Brahman. In fact, it gets falsified. There is no giving up. You actually recognize that there is no individual. All that is here is Brahman only. That knowledge automatically dissolves you. Where is you? Only there was an erroneous notion that there was a separate I. But what actually exists is only Brahman. That cognition automatically makes you have already given up. The cognition has happened. That means you are not there as an individual anymore. That yajna is jnana yajna. Jnanam is making everything else false other than Brahman. So that is a totally different thing. You can't even compare it with anything else. All others, you are actually, as an ego, you are offering to something to something. Pranan is offered to apana, apanan is offered by who? By this guy, individual. So and so. So that ego is remaining as somebody who is making the offering. Whereas in jnana yajna, that individual itself is offered, because that has been falsified. Then it is Shreyas, because everything is given up. The giver itself is given up, is offered, and all else is also offered. Therefore, jnana yajna is Shreyas. Shreyan dravyamaya yajnat jnana yajna parantapa. It is the greatest yajna, because the entire world is offered unto Brahman. How is this entire world offered? Because once one knower known knowledge is offered, everything we saw is only knower known knowledge. So any one knower known knowledge, Triputi, you understand what is the Satyam behind all that. Then the entire world Satyam also is the same, because everything is knower known knowledge only. And once that is cognized, the Brahman is cognized, that means that is Jnana Yajnam. So the whole world is offered, and no other yajna can come close, because all other yajnas are very limited. Therefore, sarvam karma kilam partha jnane parisamapyate. This jnanam puts a full stop to all karma, because karma means kartrutvam, and this kartrutvam is given up in this jnanam. So all karma ends at jnanam. Now, another very important question that comes to our mind, Bhagavan is answering. What is the question? You are telling all this, but I am not able to see all this. What is you seem to talk about something, everything is dissolved and one Brahman, but I am not seeing all this. How do I understand it? You may say I am not prepared, my mind is not ready. Then how do I get ready? Bhagavan says, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. You can't know this by yourself. This jnanam, you can't by yourself go and discover. These days people will ask, no, why do I need a guru in between me and God? I don't need any middleman. These things you will hear. Because people have lost the ability to trust. That's why they say all this. But anyway, there is no middleman or anything. There is no God sitting in heaven for you to choose between having a middleman or not having a middleman. Bhagavan, we have already discussed, Ishvara is Sarvavyapi, Sarvantaryami, Sarvadrashta, Sarvasatta. All that is here is Bhagavan only, Ishvara only. Now what separates you from that Ishvara is only ignorance. And if the ignorance has to go, you need knowledge. And the knowledge can't come in this case by yourself going and figuring it out, because it is about you. The moment you start figuring about something, that means you are already lost. You are already taking yourself as somebody who is going to find out. You already have concluded you are this individual. And that itself is what is being questioned. That means you need a mirror, a swatantra pramana, an independent means which throws light on who you are. And that is Shastra. And that Shastra also you can't yourself go and study. Again, because you are already lost the moment you go and say, I am going to figure this out from Shastra. So you need someone to reveal this vision and someone to handle the words. Shastra is word. The word itself can't reveal anything to you, because only known things are revealed by words. When I say cow, the word is known. It reveals something because a meaning for the word is known to you. Something new can't be revealed by a word. So somebody who handles the word by a method called Bhagatyaga Lakshana, by sacrificing some part of the meaning, can reveal. But even then, how can a word reveal something new to me? Because you said word doesn't reveal something new. But here what is going to be revealed is not totally unknown to you, because it is about you. Are you not known to you? Of course not. You are known to you. But then you are known to you with some amount of error. That is why you are saying, I am this body. The body which is known as this cognition, you are saying, I am. There is some confusion there. There is some misunderstanding, but it is not, you are totally unknown to you. So the words reveal you to yourself by what is called as Bhagatyaga Lakshana, Neti Neti. There are quite a few methodologies. So the method of revealing is inherent in what is the Sampradaya. There is a way to teach this. And the way to teach comes through the Sampradaya, the tradition of teaching. And that started from who? Bhagavan himself. He said in the beginning of this chapter, I gave this to Vivaswan, because nobody can gain this knowledge by themselves, including Vivaswan. So Ishvara has to give this, because this vision has to be revealed by somebody who can handle the words. How did that person get the vision? From his or her guru. And that person from his or her guru, that goes all the way to Ikshvaku and then Vivaswan and then Bhagavan. The Ikshvaku, Vivaswan and all is just a Upalakshana. In somewhere we say Narayanam Padmavam Vasishtam Shaktin Chatat Putra Parasharancha, like that. Means there is a Sampradaya. One after the other, it has been revealed. So a guru is essential. It's not an option. There is no choice. But your question will be, but I have nobody to trust. How do I know who is the right guru? Unless you know what is this jnanam, there is no way for you to conclude whether the person who is teaching knows it or not. How do you know whether what I am saying is correct or what somebody else is saying is correct? If you already know that, then you don't need that guru. Only because you don't know, you are coming to learn. So you have to only trust. So, but who do I trust is the question. That's why Shastra says, Shrotriyam Brahmanishtam. Try and find out if the person has learned it from the Sampradaya, from a guru who has the Sampradaya, and whether this person is committed to this knowledge. Does this person have any other objective? If the person doesn't have any other objective, only commitment is to teach this jnanam, then to some extent you can trust. Beyond that, it is Ishvara Anugraha only. There is no guarantee that you have reached the right guru until you gain that knowledge. You cannot say with conviction. But then you will know, yes, I am getting some clarity. Means this person should be telling the right thing. So that kind of a guru, Tattvadarshi, who has this jnanam, you go and surrender. Pranipatena, go and submit yourself. Dirgha Namaskara. Pranipata means literally you go and fall in the feet, because you are surrendering your ego. Only when you surrender the ego, this jnanam can work. Why? Because falsifying this ego only is eventually what is happening in this jnanam. And if the ego is bloated, that can't happen. So to some extent, the ego shouldn't interfere in your gaining this jnanam. So the ego shouldn't interfere. That means it has to reasonably submit itself to this Shastra and Guru. Then only this jnanam can work. For your own sake only you are doing Pranipatanam, not for the sake of Guru. Guru doesn't have anything to gain because you have fallen into his feet. Maybe a little bit pride can come. If the Guru is not a proper person, actually the person is falling not to him, but to the Sampradaya and Shastra only. But if the Guru takes, hey, there is somebody who is prostrating to me, yeah, then that person is not mature. But if he is a true Guru, then that person has nothing. The drishti is everything is Brahma. Why should that Guru bother about somebody falling in the feet? So the Pranipatanam is for the benefit of the Sishya, because the ego gives in. Tadvidhi, go and learn this, gain this vision from a Guru who is a Tattvadarshi by prostrating. Not only prostrate, pariprashnena, asking the right question at the right time so that your doubts get clarified. Be focused on it. Sevaya, do whatever is needed for the Guru, because again, it is part of your ego reduction. Do some seva which is needed for the Guru, because generally they don't take money or anything. So do what is needed. Then Upadekshanti te jnanam. They will give you that vision. Tattvadarshinaha, the people who are Tattvadarshis, who see this vision through the Shastra, they will give you. And by gaining that knowledge, what happened? Yajñatva na punar moham evam yasyasi pandava ena bhutani aseshena dakshasi atmani atho mayi. What is this knowledge? You don't come, once you gain that knowledge, you don't get back this ignorance. But you know what that knowledge is? By that knowledge, you will see everything in yourself. Aseshena drakshasi atmani. Everything in this world you see as yourself. Because like I said, knower, known and knowledge, all the three are sustained by your own Swarupa. And then he adds Ato Mai. Not only you see all of them in yourself, you will also see everything in me as Ishvara. Means everything is in Ishvara, everything is also in you. That means you and Ishvara are not different. It's all the same. Because your Swarupa is awareness, consciousness, which sustains everything. Ishvara's Swarupa also is the same. Then you see that all that is here is nothing but Ishvara, which is your Swarupa also. And what is this? This is the Jnanam. And you know what this Jnanam does? Apichedasi papebhyaha sarvebhyah papakrittamaha sarvam jnana plavenaiva vrijinam samtarishyati. All your papas they just go away. You may be a great, because sometimes we have this, most people will have this thinking, guilt. I am not qualified for all this jnanam. This is all for some yogis and people who are sitting in Himalayas somewhere, who have been doing years of penance. But I am all papi. I have been, drinking beer, or I have been doing some papas, hurting people. I have done this, committed this wrong, that wrong. Am I even qualified for some jnanam like this? I am a papi. You are talking as though I can also gain this jnanam. Like that, people will have that. So here Bhagavan says, even if is the worst of the sinner, papakrit tamaha, even that person through this small boat called jnanam can cross the ocean of sin, papa. So don't give excuses. You have got this life. You have the ear for Shastra. You have access to it today through internet, sitting at home. What else is needed? In those days, you had to go searching for it. Rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Bhagavan says, right? People used to keep it as a secret. Not everybody was given this Vedanta. Today it is open, free for all. Comes to your bedroom, study room, through internet. Don't give excuse that I am a papi and all that. Just cling on to the boat, jnana plavam. This knowledge will take you outside this samsara sagara. Bhava sagar suk gayore. Fikir nahi more taran ki. That is a famous Meera Vajan that I always remember. It just dries up when the Guru Kripa is there, means this Jnanam comes. Guru Kripa is Jnanam. What is Guru Kripa? This knowledge is Guru Kripa. That's all. There can be other small Kripas you can get from Guru. But the greatest Kripa that Guru can give you is this knowledge. Guru Kripa Anjan Payo. Your eyes are opened by this Guru Kripa Anjana. And that dries up the whole samsara for you. Sarvam jnanaplavenaiva vrijinam samtarishyasi. Yata indham si samiddho agnihi basmasat kurute. He Arjuna, jnana agnihi sarvakarmani basmasat kurute tatha. Like a well-lit fire burns away entire forest. So too this jnana just goes and burns away all your papa, because the kartrutva and bhoktrutva is taken away. There is no karta, there is no bhokta. Who does this papa come and inflict? It's all as though burnt. Like wood is burnt by this fire. The fire, if it is small, even a small wind will blow it away. But if the fire has become big, samiddaha, then wind is also a helper. Anything that comes on the way helps the fire. That's why he says samiddaha agnihi. Like that, here also this jnanam burns away everything, any karma, papa, punya, all that goes away, because even punya will give you some good benefit and then you get some vasana from it and then you will go after it. So punya also is not needed for a jnani. So bhokta, karta, both are a problem. So sarva karmani bhasmasat kurte, whether it is prarabdha karma, sanchita karma, agami karma, everything, no punya papa remains. This jnanam. So you go and seek that jnanam from a tattvadarshi. What else is needed in life other than this jnanam? Because jnanam makes you rest yourself in your own nature. And this jnanam used to drive people in those days. They would go all the way. Shankaracharya was here and some Gaudapada, Govinda Bhagavat, Shankaracharya was from some deep south. Govinda Bhagavat Pada was somewhere in Madhya Pradesh. And he went all the way searching for this knowledge, giving up everything. So much was, but this knowledge is worth, because we don't know how many births have gone by, that has made us ready now for this knowledge. Because how am I saying that you are ready for knowledge? Because you are able to sit through this session. Whoever is remaining in the class means what? You have the ear for this jnana. Who knows in the next birth whether we will be born as human, whether we will be exposed to this jnana, and whether we will have ear for this jnana. By some punya visesha, we are here. So utilize that, is what Bhagavan says. Don't say I am a papa krittama and all that. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. There is nothing which is more purifying than this jnanam. It is not even equivalent. Because what is purification? Ganga purifies Ganges from the papas you have committed. This jnana also purifies all the papas, you from all the papas committed. But you know what? It is also releasing you from any future papas. After Ganga Snana also, if you come and do more papa, that papa will remain. But this jnanam, because it removes your kartrutva bhoktrutva, forever you are freed from all papas. So there is nothing which purifies like this jnana. Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitramiha vidyate. Tatsvayam yoga samsiddha kalena atmani vindati. It may take some time. You need to give it some time because you need to study, you need to know. But then at some point, once you are ready, when the jnanam takes place, a karma yogi, somebody, a mumukshu who is pursuing this knowledge, jignasu, gains this jnanam. But for you to gain, you have to keep trust. Shraddhavan labhate jnanam tatvaraha sanyatendriyaha jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. You need to keep trust, you need to have shraddha. You have to start with shraddha. There is no way other than having shraddha, because how can you tell me that this jnanam will take place? You can ask. I can't prove. But there are many jnanis, people who have gained this jnanam. So at some time, we are not talking about a belief, faith. that after death you will go to heaven. That is a non-verifiable belief. You can't verify it within this birth. But here we are talking about a jnanam which will happen in this birth, and it has happened to so many people in their own births. So you have to first trust that you will also gain it. You can also gain it. Shraddhavan labate jnana. Unless that shraddha is there, you are not even starting. To even start, you need to have shraddha in Shastra, in Guru, in yourself. There should be a belief that it can happen. But primarily Guru and Shastra Vakya, Vishwasa is called Shraddha. You are giving benefit of doubt to start listening. Then only this jnanam is possible. Also, not only Shraddha, Tatparaha, you should be committed to it. Everything else gives up its place. And this pursuit becomes your primary motivation. And every decision that we started with yesterday morning, the choice that you make is focused on this particular pursuit. Tatparaha, the commitment is towards freeing yourself, because everything else is only to free yourself. Though you are making a choice, smaller choice decisions, but why are you pursuing those? Because you want to see your happy you. You want to be free. That is what everybody aspires for. So if that is your lakshya, then tatparatvam to this knowledge. Knowledge only liberates. Nothing else. Even going to heaven, unless you have this knowledge, even at heaven you can't be happy. But with this knowledge, even at hell you can be happy, because what is happening there is only for your upadhi, not to your atma. Once you have this jnanam, even in the hell, you will be happy. But without this jnanam, even in heaven you can't be happy. That's why Bhagavan says, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhuhu, Atmaiva Ripura Atmanaha. You are your friend, you are your enemy. Once you know your Swarupa, your Atma is your friend. If you don't know your Swarupa, your Atma itself is your enemy. All our problem is our guilt hurt only. No problem is outside. So that Shraddha, Tatparata, and then Sanyatendriyaha, you shouldn't be scattered. Try and bring your senses under control through Karma Yoga and other means we spoke about. Jnanam labdhva param shantim achirena adhigacchati. The shanti, the peace that you can rest on will happen once you gain this jnana. And then he also says, Agnyascha ashraddhadanascha samsayatma vinashyati nayam lokosti naparaha nasukam samsayatmanaha. If you are doubting everything, there is no such jnanam, we are wasting time, this person may not teach me properly. Some people have all the time doubt about everything. That kind of a person, even this world, that person doubts. Doubts the wife, doubts the daughter, doubts the husband. Then all this doubting thing, for that person there is no sukham. Every sukham is hindered. Shamshayatmanaha. The doubting person doesn't gain anything. Nayam lokosti na paraha na sukham is what he says. So don't keep doubting. At least do some initial assessment and leave the thing in God, Bhagavan, and give Shraddha, because you don't have a choice. By not trusting somebody, some guru, what choice you have? The only way to gain this jnanam is through guru who has come from this sampradaya. You don't have any choice. So have Shraddha. Start with Shraddha. Yoga sanyasta karmanam jnana sanchinna samshayam atmavantam na karmani nibadhananti dhananjaya. Once you have gained this jnanam, then even if you are in thick of action, you are already free. No karma touches you, there is no rebirth, there is no punya papa, there is no guilt hurt, there is no limitation, There is nothing that is going to constrain you because you are free. You are Ishvara by Swarupa. Then you act so that you can help others, or you can leave acting. Act as in do action, because act has this other meaning of acting, performing an act. And that's not what we are saying. Action. Tasmad Ajnana Sambhutam Hristam Jnanashina Atmanaha Chitvainam Samshayam Yogamatishta Uttishta Bharata. So any kind of doubt that you have, just get rid of it. Just cut it off. And he has said, Bhagavan has said, no, there are Bahavaha Jnana Tapasa Madbhava Magataha. There are many people who have reached me. He told Arjuna long back. After that also so many people have reached Bhagavan. So trust Bhagavan's word. So in your heart, whatever little bit doubt is there, Samshayam, Chitvayenam, just uprooting all those doubts. Yoga Matishta, start with this Karma Yoga, or so many of the practices that I spoke about, Yajnaya, Acharatah Karma, Samagram Praviliyate, like that I spoke about so many Yajna, Dravya Yajna, Tapo Yajna, Swadhyaya Jnana Yajna, whatever it is, start doing some yoga and start your pursuits towards this Jnanam. Atishta, Yoga Matishta, stand in that yoga. Start following Uttishta Bharata. Hey Arjuna, start doing your action. Continue doing your action, but with a different attitude, Karma Yoga, because eventually you have to gain this Jnanam, which you will gain once you have the Shraddha and start practicing. Then you will gain this Jnanam. Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yogo Nama Chaturthodhyayaha. So this Samvada that we spoke about has happened between Bhagavan, Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Which is called Bhagavad Gita. And this topic of discussion was Jnana Karma Sannyasa. Jnanena Karma Sannyasa. By knowledge, how to give up the doership. That is Jnana Karma. Sannyasa means Tyaga. How do I give up my doership, my Punya Papa, through Jnanam? That was the focus. But then, like I said, Bhagavan covered a lot about Avatara and all those things. So it's one of the comprehensive chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We had to rush through a little bit. Each one, if you go through Shankara Bhashya and all that, there are quite a few intricate discussions like Karmani, Akarmaya, Pasyat and all. This is a long commentary where he has picked up quite a few aspects. So I encourage all of you to study more detailed. We just gave a bird's eye view of this chapter in the limited time we had. So I will leave the last 5 minutes for any questions. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. I think you are on mute.
I'm audible now?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Kalyanji, for sharing this wonderful knowledge on these 4 sessions. We have received questions. The first question is how to differentiate between the happiness enjoyed by the body, mind, and the one enjoyed by Atman momentarily.
Okay. So the question is, how do you differentiate by the happiness enjoyed by body and the Atma or mind, whatever? So body or Atma doesn't experience any happiness. Yeah. The experiencer of happiness is you, always. And that you, when you are going to now split it between body, we generally talk about Pancha Koshas. Shastra talks about 5 as though kosha, covers, sheets. So there is Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya. So there is the physical body, which is Annamaya Kosha. Then you have the Pranamaya Kosha, which is your circulatory, distributory, breathing, all those energies which are within this body. That is also where you can place your eye on. Then Manomaya, my mind, which is Sankalpa, Vikalpatmaka, which is trying to go towards some Vikalpa and all that. Then Vijnanamaya, which is the decisive part of your mind. Then you have the Anandamaya, which is the emotional, the one that experiences joy and all that. So that is all the 3, we can call it as Antakarana only. The mind, Vijnana, and the Anandamaya Kosha. And that is where you experience any happiness. Now Atma is not an experiencer. Atma is the one which lights up all this experience. So Atma doesn't experience a joy or sorrow or anything like that. It is still experienced by Antakarana only, the instrument which is your mind. Within that only all those experiences happen. But what we already saw also, the actual source of this happiness is only your Atma. Why? Because when you are experiencing a happiness, at that time you are just suspending all the wantingness of you. Your wanting me is temporarily suspended and your mind is just relaxing on your Swarupa. That is what is your experience of joy. So there is no differentiation between body experience and mind experience and all that. All experiences happen in the mind only. And the mind gets his happiness. The source of happiness is only Atma. So that's how we understand this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kalyanji. The next question is, what should I do after I recognize Brahman? Does the remaining karma or samskaras need to burn out, or should I engage in devotional service with purified intellect until the body drops off?
So, good question. So generally, when we say in fact, I didn't cover it in detail. This Bhagavad Gita, in this chapter itself, Bhashyakara Shankaracharya speaks a lot on this. What happens to karma? Okay, so 3 types of karma is there: Sanchita, Agamya, Prarabdha. So when a person gains jnanam, Sanchita karma goes away. There is no possibility of Agami karma because Kartritvam also is gone. Prarabdha, which is the karma which has started fructifying in this birth, it has already started fructifying, so it cannot stop in between. The arrow has left the bow. So until the karma is all experienced, it has to continue. Now, what should I do after gaining jnanam? There is no vidhi nisheda for a jnani. Okay, you have to do this or that is never told. But how a jnani will look at it is very different, because for a jnani there is nothing to be done, to be accomplished. A jnani, he or she doesn't need to do something to be happy. In order to be happy, nothing needs to be accomplished. As such, the jnani is fulfilled. Nirashrayaha he used, right? Nitya tripto nirashrayaha. Then what does jnani do? Whatever is called upon to be done, the jnani does. That's all. Anyecha prarabdha is what drives a jnani. When people around the jnani have some wishes for the jnani to act on some things which are good for the society, that prarabdha is what drives the jnani. The jnani's prarabdha gives him a context to operate. Right? Whatever is fructifying, suppose I am born say, for living for so many years. And these are the experiences that I have to go through. That will automatically be fructifying even after I gain jnanam. But anyecha prarabdha also is there. People around the jnani also have certain prayers and other things, which also creates a situation for the jnani to operate. So a jnani just goes by that. Whatever is called upon the person to do, the jnani just does it. That's all. The jnani is not after something, but is mostly driven by anyecha prarabdha and what is unfolding. So it is not what should I do after gaining jnanam and all that. That question itself doesn't arise because there is no must and should and all that. Here, whatever is the jnani is called upon to do, the jnani just does it. That's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kalyanji. That ends the question and answer session. And with this, we will conclude yet another session of Weekend with Wisdom. Kalyan Kumarji, thank you for accepting our invitation and joining us and sharing this wonderful knowledge and all these 4 sessions. And we will conclude. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.
Yeah, thank you.